time, I was living in Los Angeles, specifically right here on this street. It's a neighborhood known as Highland Park. It's tucked away in northeast Los Angeles, and Highland Park borders on Pasadena, which is the home of Gold Star. Gold Star is a live ticketing company that I worked for 2 years. And I was part of the venue relations team. I helped manage some of their markets and help some of the venue partners sell out more events. It was a really great company to work for. I really enjoyed working there. One other thing I was working on while I was in LA was being a musician. That's me on the left on the drums. And I was really passionate about music. And actually one of the things that I was most passionate about music and being in a band was the entrepreneurial aspects of it. It wasn't just about performing. But after a while of doing that, I started to feel as though it wasn't really satisfying. I felt I was working sort of 2 jobs to accomplish really just one goal of being both entrepreneurial and creative. So eventually I gave up on those things. I packed up my stuff and I left Los Angeles and took some time to travel. I got to see parts of North and South America with some very close friends, and it was during that time that I started to think about how I could carve my own path into entrepreneurship. And one of the things I explored was learning how to code. And I think sites like Codecademy, learning online for free, is actually a really great way to get introduced to programming. And I started to think early on, actually, that it's a lot like learning how to play music. You can be a really great instrumentalist, but that's not necessarily going to sell a lot of records. And being a really great programmer isn't necessarily going to sell an app or start a business for you. So I started to think about what else I could do to further that education, and then I stumbled upon Starter School. And that sort of validated that idea that I had about really not just working on programming, not as one specific skill, but being able to holistically develop a product. So I decided to pack up my stuff one more time and come to Chicago. This is actually a photo I took on my first full day here. I was kind of blown away by the size of the merchandise mart. And I knew I was in for a tough time here in Chicago. It was going to be a long winter, even though the weather looks great on this day. So anyway, that's how I got here. That's how I ended up in Chicago. And now you're probably wondering, what did I do for the last 9 months? Well, to tell that story, I want to talk about soccer. It's kind of a timely subject. I'm a diehard Seattle Sounders fan. I've been a season ticket holder for the team since 2009, which was their very first season in Major League Soccer. And not only that, but there's actually some family history here. My parents were season ticket holders during the 1970s. And so it's somewhat special for me. It's not just a hobby or an interest. It's actually something I'm passionate about. And it's a tradition that I actually want to continue. So last fall, I got an email from the Sounders. They wanted me to renew my season tickets. And because I often have extra tickets and I can't always go to every game, especially when I'm living in Chicago, for example, I share my tickets with friends. And so when I get this email, I know I have to send this email. And you don't have to read it, I'll summarize it. Basically, we have to figure out who went to how many games last year, how many games people think they might go to next year, and we do a bunch of math, and then I beg them for money. And it's a pain. I don't really like doing that. And I had somewhat of a light bulb moment that's documented right here in the email. I basically realized that I had a personal problem that I could possibly solve with technology. So I knew I had something, and I started to look at what we were doing to manage this. And we have this kind of ugly Google Excel sheet that we shared, and there's columns that are unlabeled with comments in them. I mean, I don't even know what that means. There's no words there. I don't know what's going on. So what we started thinking about, I started thinking about doing it in terms of groups. Thinking about me and my friends, we share our tickets together. We even go to the games together sometimes. So I started thinking about how I could build an app to help groups manage their shared season tickets. A couple months later, after I came up with this idea, we started getting into design. And we had to actually put down our computers and step away and pick up old-fashioned writing utensils, which, as you can tell, is not my strength. But it's an incredibly important part of the process. It's something, it gives you a chance to quickly iterate through a lot of different ideas. So after a couple months, I actually had my first version, and I had it released in time for my friends to use back home in Seattle at the start of the Major League Soccer season in early March. As you can tell, it's not pretty, but it was shipped, and I was really proud of that. I knew still, though, that this was merely the beginning. Another important part of the process at this point was starting to research not only my customers that I've had at that point, but also other people around Chicago. I interviewed people face-to-face about their season ticket experience, other people who don't even have season tickets but go to a lot of games as well. And I learned something really important just through that, which is that people don't really share season tickets in groups very often. that focusing on the groups wasn't really a way to solve this problem. In fact, the way to solve this problem was focusing on the tickets themselves, the season ticket holders and their tickets. What I also found out was that to solve this problem, what a lot of people were actually doing was going to the secondary market, which I didn't know until I started talking to people. And sites like StubHub are really great. They have a very wide market of buyers and sellers. It's a huge ticket marketplace. It's very useful for a lot of people, but it's still not perfect. Part of the problem is buying and selling on StubHub is a little bit soulless. It's anonymous. You don't actually know who you're dealing with. If you're a season ticket holder, you don't know who you're selling to, and that's very uncomfortable because, God forbid, you sell to the opposing fan, right? So that's one problem. It's also a little bit complicated. It's like trading stocks sometimes. You have to figure out how much you think you can get for it, what are other people selling their tickets for, what are the other issues such as the opponent and day of the week, things like that. And then on top of it all, it's a little bit expensive. If you just want to get your face value back, you have to factor in the fees that some of those sites are going to take and increase your ticket price by that much. So I knew this wasn't going to solve the problem. I knew I had to start focusing on season ticket holders and their extra tickets. So after improving my design skills, or trying to anyway, and improving the UI, I came up with a way to, as a season ticket holder, look at the entire schedule and see every game I plan to attend and every game I can't. And not just at the level of an individual game, but at the level of an individual ticket, and then assign certain people to specific tickets. And then when I know I have a ticket I'm not going to use, I can actually plan ahead and upload a PDF version that I get from the team, so that when my friend wants to go, they can download the ticket right then and there the same way they would on StubHub. Not only that, but my friends can get notified when my tickets become available. And this is the part that I think is really cool. In their inbox, they'll have access and information about tickets that don't even exist on the secondary market. So if they want to go to the game, before they even look at StubHub, they'll check their email. And then when they do decide they want to buy, they have a more personal, more friendly experience where they can see what the view of the seats is going to be and see my beautiful face while they're making a ticket acquisition. As fun as it is, or as rewarding as it is to build code that allows people to transfer tickets and get email notifications, ultimately, what I care about is this. I care about people going to the game. This isn't, like I said at the beginning, I'm not worried about the individual skill that I've created from this as much as I'm worried about delivering a great experience for someone. And I know I like to share my Sounders season ticket experience with people, especially when I can't go. I want a friend to go, and I want to enable other season ticket holders to accomplish the same thing. So after 9 months of learning how to code and draw and design and business, as well as just plain old problem solving, I've come up with Tickety Split.
Great name.
Thank you. So Tickety Split is live for soccer in Seattle and Portland, and I intend to continue working on it and adding more teams. You can actually go to Tickety Split, sign up, tell me which team you have season tickets for.
Fire.
There you go. All right. That's one. And that'll help get your team signed up sooner. Now, I have a lot that I need to improve, and one of the companies that I've looked at that does a great job in ticketing is this company called SeatGeek. And I really like the way their user interface, their product development, I noticed was very strong. And I actually think that's somewhat unique in ticketing, unfortunately. I think a lot of ticketing sites, even Ticketmaster, are not a very good user experience. SeatGeek is unique. They do a very good job of kind of aggregating all of the tickets on the secondary market in one place. So sort of like when you search for airfares, you might go to a place like Kayak. You can go to SeatGeek to look for tickets to all kinds of things, not just sports, but concerts as well. So one of the things I started doing was following some of their developers on Twitter because I like the way they work. I just wanted to know more about them. And this came across my stream a month ago today that they had an opportunity for an internship. I decided to take a chance on it and applied for it because I knew that this would be a great opportunity not only to develop my skills as a product developer, but in a specific industry that I'm obviously very interested in. So I got lucky and I got the job, so I'll be packing my stuff up once again. I'll be working there with, the details are going to be ironed out as far as specifically what I'm working on, but it's going to be related to the user account management system that they have, which is particularly relevant, so I'm very excited about that. One last thing I want to say is a special thanks to everyone at Starter School, specifically Jeff and Sandy, Mike and Neil, and my classmates. I know that I know I'm very excited about this opportunity I have coming up, and I know I wouldn't have it without the past 9 months, and what a great time it's been. So I want to thank everyone for that, and I want to thank you guys for coming, and have a great evening. Thank you.